What is going on, everyone? So today we have got this transit connector over here. You're probably familiar with this place. I'll leave a link somewhere here, or is it here? We have done a different vehicle before. We replaced a clutch on that one, but with this one I think that it's got the same issue. We will have to diagnose it first. They reported that it doesn't move, or it won't go in gear at all. So let's go and find out. Let's jump in the vehicle to see if our suspicion is correct. Right, so let's turn it on. Let's have a look. Make sure that we are not in gear. Right, let's see. Right, so that seems okay. It starts. Right, let's have a look. Press on the clutch. Oh, that sounds bad. I don't know if you guys can hear that. It just won't go in gear. In any gear, in fact. So that tells me the very common issue in this vehicle, which is the concentric slave cylinder. Now that happens usually when the concentric slave cylinder is gone or the clutch has completely left the chat. But let's have a look first to see if it is the concentric slave. The first clue that you'd notice is a very, very low hydraulic fluid or brake fluid. But looking at this one, it doesn't look like there's any, it doesn't look low at all. It looks like it's still full, so it might be that the clutch is gone, but we'll see. Right, obviously to check if it is the concentric slave, because it lives obviously in the gearbox, what I've asked John to do is to raise the vehicle, and then we're gonna see if there is any leak in between the gearbox and the engine. If there is, it is likely this is the concentric slave. I'm hoping, I'm just really hoping that it's not his synchros, because otherwise that's gonna be very expensive. Yeah, it's gonna be very expensive. So yeah, let's help this tradie out and put no, you can't, and put him back on the road and back in business. Let's go, let's get to it. When working on most front wheel drive clutches, the first thing that you have to do is to raise the vehicle and remove the wheel, as we will need all the access that we need to remove the drive shaft from the wheel hub. Some of you guys might remember this dog. Look, he's the fetch dog. Look, I'll just chuck that, and then wherever that goes, yeah, he'll pick up. But anyway, underneath, to be honest with you, it looks okay. Like there is no sign of the concentric slave cylinder failing, but it's just odd. I've got pressure on the pedal, so that tells me that there is no issue with the hydraulic system. Now the only thing that's left is either going to be the clutch is fully worn or his gearbox is just completely shattered. But we'll find out if it is shattered or not if we see any bits on the gearbox or for once we drain it. Yeah, you can see there's just nothing in there. It's absolutely mint and perfect. That being said, now that we know that, you know, there is no issue with the hydraulics, what we're going to do is we're going to be stripping it so that we can get the gearbox out and investigate further if it's the clutch or if it's going to be the gearbox. So now what we have to do is to basically start at the top. So remove the battery tray, airbox, etc, just so that we get access to the gearbox bolts at the very top. This is going to be a long day, so let's get to it. If you don't know already, we have launched our online store. We have listed variety of things in there, such as the tools that we use on a daily basis, like Launch Power Loop Plus, Eurotab 3 and car accessories like dashcam and jump pack. If you have any requests, please put it down in the comment section down below and I will add it to our store. Anyway, now that the airbox and battery tray is out, we have all the space that we need to access whatever we need to access that was sitting below the battery tray, including the gearbox mount. Right, cool. Now that we've got everything off at the top, John underneath also started removing like the dog bone mount and the bolts underneath for the gearbox. But what we haven't done just yet is to drain the gearbox oil, purely because we've run out of batteries. Yeah, I forgot to charge it, and that's why you can hear the van running. Anyway, I've found something very annoying underneath.
Oh, him?
No, not him. He's lovely.
He's got something fixed, 24.5.
Yeah. I will show you this bolt. Why does Ford do it like this? Look at this. Why is it there? Why is there a bolt blocking a bolt? I just don't understand it. We'll see what we're gonna do with that, because if we were to remove the DPF, that's going to be very, very long. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to slowly remove it as I move the gearbox to the side, if I'm making sense. You'll definitely see what I'm doing to it later on, but that bolt is just next level annoying. Just okay, it's blocking everything. Because of that single bolt, we were forced to remove the DPF heat shield. On top of that, we also had to loosen the DPF mounting point so we can push the DPF forward a little bit so we can have the clearance that we need to get that bolt out. I cannot see why this job is listed as 4.3 hours labor. We are just gonna shuffle the heat shield to the side a little bit just so we can get access to that external Torx over here and the 13mm, I believe, because once that's out, what we could do is we could slowly remove that 13mm up there. Oh god, what a pain. It's a very bad day in the office, people. Very, very bad. Look at the head on that. It literally like snapped off. It didn't even round. It snapped off. It was so close as well, as you can see right there, look. Oh, turbo socket, please.
What, the gearbox bolt?
Well, it's not the DPF.
Oh, is it?
No.
There you go, mate.
Cheers, lad. Guys, it seems like we are playing the losing game, as you can see there. Look, the DPF is getting pushed back as we undo it, and that 13mm bolt, you can just about see it right there. It's in between. Oh my god, I don't know what to do with that.
Oh.
Yeah, man. Oh, the day. Hello, doggy. This is just not going well, is it? Oh, this is depressing, man. For God's sake. Anyway, let's stop moaning and get working. What we're doing now is removing the drive shaft so we can prepare on getting the gearbox out. Even though the day is going against us, we came up with a plan to get this gearbox out without having to chop anything off. Jay, what you doing, man? Oh!
Mind your French.
What are you doing now, mate?
Oh, I'm taking off the mounts.
Taking off the mount. So
we have jacked up the engine side.
yeah, jacked up the engine side, yeah. What's next? Take off the bolts on the engine mount. Well, gearbox mount over here. And then we should be ready to bring it down. That bolt over there by the DPF, we will worry about that. You'll probably see it, how we take it out and stuff. That's annoying. That's gonna take extra time. What I'm doing here is slowly loosening the bolt off as John slowly pulls the gearbox out. By doing that, we can keep the bolt in without having to completely remove it out of the bolt hole, if I'm making sense. Once it's off, it's just about wiggling the gearbox out. Lovely. Oh, and just like that, it's out. Mate. Oh.
Gimbal.
That was rather eventful. See what we did there, the gearbox on this. That's what we're gonna have to do.
On the way
Seems
back.
like that's making noise, but so it seems like it was the clutch after all. As you can see here, the clutch has been dragging. Clutch drag is when only a certain part of the clutch material wears faster than the rest. This can be caused by warped clutch plate, or worse, if the clutch material is contaminated by grease or any sort of fluid. Clutch drag can also be caused by a failed clutch plate or pressure plate, and from the looks of it, it was caused by a failed clutch plate. To rectify this issue, it's only right to use OE quality matching parts. Satch is OEM to Ford, BMW, Mercedes and many other brands, so we know that this new kit will last at least another 100,000 miles. Right, so a lot of people tend to miss this out. So you see the bolts that goes onto the CSC, they actually do have a torque requirement for them, because if they are not torqued properly, what's going to happen, if you imagine this is the flat, so this is the side view of the CSC. If it's not tightened correctly, there's a possibility that it's like a tiny bit skewed as such. And now if that was to happen, you're going to prematurely wear that bearing on the concentric stave, and then it will cause this leaking like this one here, as you can see, because imagine this, at high speed it's like a bit skewed, and then like the pressure is not constant, if I'm making sense. Hopefully I do. And as you can see, it's very important to read the service bulletin, and it's saying here 11 Newton meters of torque on those CSC bolts. So we've got this one here, our micro, not even a micro, it's just a torque wrench, and as you can see there, it's just set to 11 Newton meters, and that's what we're gonna do. And yes, believe it or not, this has just been recently calibrated, so yeah, even though it looks like this, it still looks nice. Yeah, let's tighten up. So as important as the concentric slave cylinder, we also have to tighten up the pressure plate properly. Again, it's the same thing, you don't want the pressure plate to be skewed. So there's actually 3 stages to tighten this one up, which is 10 Newton meters, and then it goes 20 Newton meters, and then 29 Newton meters. And all of that you have to do in crisscross pattern, just so that it's evenly sat on the face of the flywheel. So let's go do that. As I torque down the clutch plate, you can already see the pressure plate fingers go down evenly. This is also important because if the fingers of the pressure plate is not flat against the clutch bearing for when you engage the clutch, there is a possibility that you'll wear the clutch plate unevenly, again causing clutch drag, which will eventually cause the clutch to completely fail. I'd rather follow the torque settings and not have my customer come back to me for that reason. And just like that, we have now fitted the new clutch in there. Look at it, nice and shiny. We followed the correct sequence as well, so we know that this clutch plate here, this thing, whatever, I can't even remember the name of it, that's all sitting nice and flush and nice and straight as well. So now it's time to put the gearbox back in, and that bolt right there, the one that's been giving us problem all day, that's going to be a pain in the backside.
It's gonna help us, kind of.
I hope so, because we need to rotate the gearbox and bring it up and all of that. Yeah, it's going to be difficult, but we'll pull through, right? Somewhat. Taking the gearbox out was already difficult. Putting it back in was even more challenging. To put the gearbox back in place, we have to align the spline on the clutch plate and the gearbox. And to do that, we have to rotate the gearbox slowly until it goes in. But because of that annoying gearbox bolt from earlier, we could only rotate it in a small amount. However, we managed to work it. Now, I can slowly tighten that annoying bolt whilst John slowly pushes the gearbox in. What a long way to do it. And just like that, it is back in there. Can you see it? Yeah, we're not skipping anything. And this DPF one, I've got my way. That's gonna go back in later as well, you'll see it. Challenge accepted, challenge is done, look. It's in, didn't have to chop it off, nothing. Otherwise that would have been a DPF removal, that's for sure. You guys who's experienced this before on the newer Transit Connects, what is your way of doing that bolt just now? Because that would involve what, extra 40 minutes probably? Half an hour taking off the DPF? Let me know down in the comment section below what you would do in that scenario. But now it's finally time to put everything back in place. And as you can see, this Ford Transit Connect is finally done. And if you look here, you can see that that clutch is absolutely toast. Now, the real question is, we replaced that clutch, but is it going to work? Did we diagnose it correctly? Did we get the job done correctly? That is the final question. So we're gonna go for a test drive and we'll see if this car is gonna move backwards and forwards. And hopefully there is no clunking noises as well. So let's bring it down and let's go for a quick test drive up and down their yard. Moment of truth then, mate. Man, it's tired still. Let's have a look.
Does it move? Does it go in gear?
It went in gear. It went in gear. First gear,
Oh,
second
reverse.
gear, third gear, fourth. Yep.
And reverse?
Lovely. Reverse, it went in.
Lovely.
Question is, does it move? That is us all done for the day, people. If you're still here, please click the subscribe button, yeah? Because you're already here. So we're gonna have more and more stuff like this, and also we've got a little project coming up for this guy. Yeah, you. And you're gonna love this one, trust me. And comment in the comment section down below what you think we've missed or we did something wrong, etc. etc. Put it down there. And if you think that we can do something better, put it down there. If you think that we are shit, put it down there as well. And we will see you on the next one. Peace.